I'm starting to get worried about flat earthers. I made a video about this a couple of years ago, and I thought that it was a temporary curiosity, like some religious sects have a moment in the sun and then disappear. But the flat earther community seems to be growing.
Seems to be growing. Seems to be growing.
Seems to be growing.
As so much new information is being revealed and misinformation shared, many people cannot cope with accepting certain possible realities. And as a society, we have been indoctrinated in endless ways by religion, media, politics, science, pharmaceutical industry, etc., etc. We've all been led to believe certain things. Our perception has been manipulated, so we can accept certain limitations as being true. However, when a new concept comes to light, people cannot psychologically cope. Their ingrained beliefs must not be challenged. They feel threatened, so they will attack, defend, fight to hold on to an idea. They will completely block it out and disregard what is obvious, evident, and undeniable in order to protect their conditioning, which, of course, they're not aware of as being their conditioning. So when a new concept is perceived as being so dangerous, it becomes easier to pretend that it's not true, so they can continue doing what they've always done. This narrow-mindedness, or choosing to be ignorant, is a defense mechanism. They are afraid, so choose to remain in denial.
Like, we can laugh at it, but I don't think it's funny.
I'm starting to get worried. Flat earther community seems to be growing.
Surprised at the number of friends I have that believe the earth is flat.
Bro, when you
I'm shocked.
And this is not just amongst Christians. This is the scientific community.
This stuff is really taking hold.
What percentage of the NFL believes in flat Earth, do you think?
Dude, honestly, there's at least 10 guys, 10 to 15 guys in every locker room, I would imagine.
That are hardcore flat Earth.
I think if you took a truly anonymous poll, you're over 15% of an NFL locker room.
That's crazy. What?
I had to battle half my team thinking the Earth is flat this year.
I'm telling you.
Getting out of control. Can you please help it? Can you please help it?
A recent representative poll in North America found that 5% think the earth is flat and another 6% aren't quite sure.
It goes up for young people, all the way to 34%.
Only 64% are convinced that the world is a ball. The world is a circle, that the world is a spheroid.
Unfortunately, that is not a made-up statistic.
How's this flat earth thing like catching steam?
There's no doubt that interest in flat earth ideas has spiked.
What happened?
What happened?
Why are there so many flat earthers?
That's what blows a lot of people away. They can't believe how much traction this had.
Sometime in the middle of the 20th century or so, we reached a point where modern science just stopped being comprehensible to anyone without a special degree, and this is still the case.
YouTube recommends some pretty wild videos to people. They watch it, and it suggests even more extreme content. It's not just YouTube.
TikTok has now become a haven for flat earthers.
It's Twitter, it's Facebook, it's all of them.
The narrative is crumbling. People are finally waking up.
How do we solve that?
What are we to do?
I don't think you can duck them anymore.
I think it's a mistake to ignore flat earthers.
I think you have to get to the point where you're willing to have a debate with Kyrie Irving, the point guard for the freaking Nets. He went to Duke University.
The smartest guy on the team, Paul DeYoung, is a flat earther.
The awakening is starting to weave its threads with all the different players and all the different teams and all the different outlets. The unification and the awakening has caught tread now.
Actually seriously believe that the earth is flat. He still thinks the earth is flat.
I've seen a lot of things that that my educational system has said that was real and turned out to be completely fake. I mean, I don't mind going against the grain in terms of my thoughts and what I do.
How did we get to this point to where people actually believe this?
They've got a long list of things that they've curated at this point, and they're not easy to answer.
They're all marched around us and they boxed us in the basketball court.
If you had 3 PhDs in astrophysics over here and you had 3 flat earthers next to them and they were doing a debate,
the flat earthers would win every single time. Every single time. The flat earthers would win every single time.
The reason why is because a small group of people who become very good debaters, they're so flashy, they make really good YouTube posts.
Or maybe we just have a stronger position. We're not, claiming pseudoscientific, unverifiable, crazy claims that can easily be debunked. That's why.
And not everybody can be a robot polisher.
All right, Sarah. We talked to 100 men. What would you do if your beautiful date told you the earth was flat?
I hope he'd agree with me.
Agree with her? I would.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.
Well, I think that's because of racism.
We are apes, we are not monkeys.
Man, it is hella cool when the moon is out during the day. How does that even work? You know? When you think about it, the stars are still there and they just keep going, They go on for forever, forever ever. Forever ever?
Yeah. I mean, it's like Joe Rogan says, we're just talking monkeys on an organic spaceship flying through the universe.
If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and or military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state.
No one likes to be wrong, especially ignorant people. No one wants to figure out that their understanding of the world is flawed or foolish. That's why narrow-minded people display an unrelenting loyalty to their opinions.
It starts super early.
One of the first things we're taught
as a baby, as a toddler.
The earth is round, and they just pound this into you.
And most of us go through our lives without ever doubting this assertion.
What you learned in kindergarten.
It generally goes unchallenged as an obvious fact, rather than a debatable claim.
Kindergarten. There's no going back.
The broad masses of a nation are always more easily corrupted in the deeper strata of their emotional nature than consciously or voluntarily. And thus, in the primitive simplicity of their minds, they more readily fall victims to the big lie than the small lie. Since they themselves often tell small lies in little matters, but would be ashamed to resort to large-scale falsehoods, it would never come into their heads to fabricate colossal untruths, and they would not believe that others could have the impudence to distort the truth so infamously. Even though the facts, which prove this to be so, may be brought clearly to their minds, they will still doubt and waver and will continue to think that there may be some other explanation.
I'm talking about the universe, black holes, the Big Bang, time travel, God. But what I'm going to do is teach you how to think. Train your mind. In the old days, we called it brainwashing, where you repeat something and then it becomes true. That's hijacking this feature of our evolutionary brain. So you try to sift through what is true, and it must be that which was repeated often enough. You are comfortable in your ignorance, and you don't even know your ignorance because you came to it from having learned, but only up to a point. They're not only controlling the information you receive, they're shaping how you receive it, which has an effect on how you then behave. How you create a worldview. You create an understanding of how things are, either because someone convinced you or you convinced yourself. Now there's a gap, or there's some information that conflicts with it. So you're going to say, if you cherish this worldview, that information that conflicts with it was falsified, or that was wrong. They don't know what they're doing. You can maintain your worldview.
If we hold on, I spent so many years learning something, and now the world has changed.
The interesting thing about an objective truth is that it's true no matter what. Imagine that.
People need to understand to control their minds, otherwise other people will control it for them.
And you have no foundation in objective reality, it can be dangerous. If your personal belief system does not have correspondence in objective reality, that's an unhealthy situation for civilization to be in.
There's no going back.
Do flat earthers just like feel inferior? Is this where this comes from? No, a lot of us were huge into science fiction. I was huge into Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, Babylon 5. I actually grew up being a sci-fi kid.
Massive sci-fi book collection. I used to be a massive sci-fi nerd. I bought into all this stuff. It's not like I was like trying to, live in a fairy tale land, and so that's why I became a flat earther.
Everyone has the same story.
Yeah, we all were globe earthers, in case you didn't know.
I was violently opposed to it. I was mad at people that would bring it up.
A friend of mine was posting all these things on Facebook. It was pissing me off.
There's no fucking way the earth is flat.
These people still exist? How can anyone think the earth is flat?
That's fucking insane.
Flat earth, like, that makes no sense. Like, then how does stuff not fall off the side?
Shut the fuck up.
What about all these satellites they're claiming that are going up to space? Where are the waves going from your cell phone?
Everybody that's into flat earth, it was very hard for them to get into it and admit it.
I already had this thought of, what it was, a globe, and what they told us.
Everyone has the same story. When I first heard about flat earth, I thought it was the dumbest shit ever. I thought it was a CIA psyop. It must be some kind of distraction.
God, this is a fucking nightmare. I can't be a flat earth person.
Exact same story. Everybody. No one just believes it right away.
So when my dad decided to change to be into a flat earther, I took that as a challenge, and I tried to prove him wrong. But in order to prove him wrong, I had to know what the actual argument for the flat earth was.
The only problem with the flat earth rabbit hole, whatever you want to call it, is it's kind of hard to beat.
I'm 57 years into believing that the earth is round.
Started going into the research, and boom.
The flat earthers, they have a lot of good, compelling shit to say.
Oh, fucking stupid.
Unbelievable. Like,
how the fuck are we supposed to handle all of this?
There's nothing compares. Nothing compares to the whole quote-unquote flat earth research rabbit hole.
It's got a lot more to it than I think people would first assume.
Look into it like you're investigating it. Just look into both sides. There's a reason why it's becoming huge. There's a reason.
I have to question my own worldview and my own belief system, and thinking flat earth was stupid, which is where most of us start out at. I never would have assumed I would have become a flat earther. So you have to realize that all these people that do, they have to literally be convinced against their own belief system and their own worldview to get to the point that they're at now.
God damn it! The earth is clearly not a fucking spinning ball!
Wait. Why does it all make sense?
Why is this all fake? Official NASA website releasing footage that's CGI.
Maybe really this is lost knowledge. Maybe it truly is lost knowledge. What humans are, what our planet is, and what this is all about.
There's nothing more mind-blowing than realizing that we've been lied to the point where we don't even know where we are. I can't think of any other experience topping that.
This can't be reality.
Even like the so-called smartest people in the world will all be like, these flat earthers are retarded,
no one with a brain believes anything about the flat earth. It's absurd.
It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely, they know nothing about science. And I don't want to get mad at them. It's just that it's ridiculous.
Plus, flat earthers know that once a person says that, they're basically just admitting that they either haven't even bothered to look, or they're not smart enough to understand that the math doesn't add up. One of the two things.
I really just have questions, don't I? That's all I have. I've been lied to so much by my government, by the education system. I don't trust any of it. I don't trust any of it, quite frankly. It's all fake and gay.
Guarantee you, NASA is lying to us.
Yeah, it's the truth.
It's the truth. And it sets you free.
I've never seen a former flat earther. Nobody's ever seen what the actual shape of the earth is, and then been like, you know what? Neil deGrasse Tyson really does give me a good argument, because it's literally ridiculous.
I would rather be thought as a moron for not trusting criminals than a fucking sellout and a traitor for defending them.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.
The establishment wants a semi-lobotomized, quasi-retarded population. They don't want you thinking for yourself. They don't want you researching for yourself. They don't want you to be resourceful. They want you to take whatever it is they regurgitate to you, accept it as truth, and then move on, paint your body, and go to your favorite football team game. Meanwhile, you're having everything stolen from you in the past, present, and future. But you're a semi-lobotomized, quasi-retarded member of the population, so you don't even know what's going on. You're essentially a dodo bird getting eaten up for sport.
Listen, all I'm saying is if they tell me after I get my degree, after all of that trouble I had in so many of these classes, man, if they tell me the earth is flat, after all that, I will never forgive them. I'll tell you that much. It's been 4 years, okay? That's 4 years of my life right there.
I'll go on record right now. If I find out a week from now that the earth is flat and this has all been a lie, okay? I'll have a major crisis in terms of what else could be fake.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be a big coming to Jesus moment for sure. Like,
oh yeah.
Like what?
For me, it would change everything that I understand about the universe, and it would be a humongous upheaval in my existential existence.
So, you know, if I imagine myself already being there, then yeah, you know, all of history, all of everything. Like, what else could be alive?
I wonder if you would recommend locking down schools if you had to do it all over again.
Where you're okay. You're not gonna get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down.
People do not get sick. I recommended to the president that we shut the country down.
Night consuming level plane, missing curves, spaces gate, Boston bombing falls, flight Joe Biden torpedo. Dr. Fauci always lying, Stevie Wonder is a blind, fake career, we shall see it down the rabbit hole. Bilderberg's fake bomb, Mike Obama, huge down bar, up the Kenyan guy, has your wife identified. Warp speed, vaccine, J&J, ultra genes, might go. Kiss your sweet ass goodbye. Why do you trust these liars? You must be discerning, cause the world's not turning. No more astronauts or wires. This world is freaking, you know, and now it's time we expose it. Health Department, NSA, CDC and TSA, IRS, CIA, and NASA is a crock. SpaceX, Space Force, space is clearly fake, of course. Devon Island is Mars, Elon Musk is launching cars. Einstein was a queen, 2 more weeks of quarantine. Jussie Smollett, fake attack. George Floyd swallowed crack, said he couldn't breathe at all. Overdose on fentanyl. AOC and Alex Stein, Murray's booty is so far. Why do you trust these liars? You must be discerning, cause the world's not turning. No more astronauts or wires. We are sick of these clowns, let's get this circus shut down. Bin Laden in the sea, Robbie Parker smiling. Epstein didn't die, flight logs are classified. California communist, you shouldn't touch the lift. Mask your kids, stay inside, for your health formaldehyde. Bugs, World Economic Thugs, Klaus Schwab, Castro, piss on Justin Trudeau. Psychos, the elite, Bill Gates are tracking me. Biotech, Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca. Why do you trust these liars? You must be discerning, cause the world's not turning. No more astronauts or wires. This world is making it know, and now it's time we expose it. 9/11, no planes, another dream, another day. Building 7 falling from the plane they're calling. Nanothermite concrete, passport found in the street. Lucky Larry Silverstein, molded like a slot machine. Shanksville, Red Hill, Rumsfeld, this South, that's what hit the Pentagon. Where is all the footage gone? Why do you trust these liars? You must be discerning, cause the world's not turning. No more astronauts or wires. We are sick of these clowns, let's get this sucker shut down. Climate change, MSN, selling fear on CNN, moonshine, spacewalk, Alfred Dalton. All the astronauts who died have a twin still alive. Challenger, master dead, Buzz Aldrin is drunk again. We have moon rocks, petrified, bloodshot, yeah they lie. The rocket rockets fly. CGI. Planets don't. CGI. The ISS. OBS. Is Earth flat? Actually, yes. Not dinosaurs. Yes, of course. I can't take it anymore. Why would you trust these liars? It may be concerning as the building is burning. Maybe call these liars. They deserve a takedown for saying we go around, 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 around. Why do we trust these liars? We must be discerning, cause the world's not turning. No more astronauts or wires. This world is making you know. Now it's time we expose it. Why do we trust these liars? We must be discerning, cause the world's not turning. No more astronauts or wires. This world is making you know. Now it's time we expose it.
How to easily debunk flat earthers. First thing, remind them about the Big Bang Theory, because theories are absolute facts. Ridicule the use of YouTube for educational purposes, because any idiot knows that they can find more information in textbooks and public libraries than can be found on the internet. Tell them to go back to school, because information is only true when it comes from authority. Show them pictures and videos from outer space. It's obvious that they've never even considered this before, and there's no way that pictures or video could ever be fabricated or manipulated. Never ever do your own research. Instead, ask these flat earthers to explain every inch of detail about the theory to you. If they can't do it, just laugh in their face. And if they can do it, just get upset and say things like science and gravity a lot. When they simply just won't listen to any reason, take them up to a place with the high vantage point and simply show them the curve of the Earth. There it is, friend. The curve of the Earth. Let me just pan up a little bit here. Oh wait, wait, what's happening to the curve? What's... When it's all said and done, stop watching videos with titles like these and maybe actually go do a little research yourself.
This world is not what you think it is. This world is not what you think it is. We can all grow. And we are all in this. Close your eyes and share our happiness.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
What is the ancient Smith effect? What is that?
Well, you know, this is one of the things that has to do with the Dark Brothers and how they subconsciously get into your psyche. So they control the media, they control the news, they control what you eat, what you think, what you see, and everything else.
Are they the deep state that we hear so much about?
The deep state, they're the deep state. They're all these hidden figures behind the scenes pulling all the strings that nobody ever can really see who they are, but they're there. You know, there's 100 families running this entire planet, but there's still a handful of them that are at the top of that mini pyramid that are really making all the final decisions. And so that's really what it's all about. So the Agent Smith effect is when, like, if you're talking to somebody like a friend or a family member about what you saw on TV, and it's like a sitcom or a TV show, everybody's having a great conversation about it. But as soon as you stop and talk about is 9/11 a conspiracy or, you know, what they're putting in our food is poison, all of a sudden that person will then change. Their countenance will change. Sure. Their attitude will change, and they'll almost become like a prison guard to stop you from talking about those topics and try to skew you back into what the more comfortable topics were, which was gossiping and so forth and so on. So it's like this thing jumps into them. It's like this matrix programming takes over their body, and that's part of the dark forces that happen. And it's called the Agent Smith effect, kind of after the Matrix movies where Agent Smith would pop into the bodies of other people to fight against Neo.
So
So you've heard of the butterfly effect, and you've heard of the Mandela effect. Have you heard of the Agent Smith effect? And I think it's an important time for us to discuss this, because as we go deeper down the rabbit hole, the comments from some skeptics gets unnecessarily more aggressive. So imagine you could talk about a show or a movie, maybe something like Doctor Who that deals with timelines, maybe a show like Loki that's also dealing with multiple timelines. And it's all fun and games. Wow, what a great show. What an amazing concept. But then the moment that you mention, it is possible that there's multiple timelines, and some of those timelines could have collapsed, and timelines could merge, and potentially people could mess with the timelines in the future that would affect us today. And then all of a sudden, they become glazed over and basically become a prison guard. And now the only thing that matters to them is stopping you from exploring that idea and upholding some type of social obligation to society in some weird way, not even based on their own ideas or opinions. So here we go. In the Matrix, Agent Smith has the ability to enter any body at any time. And that often happens when the Matrix is threatened by Neo. This is reflected in our real world. You mention a conspiracy, and there's Agent Smith to replace the person you were just talking to and to prevent you from threatening the Matrix. These people become guardians of the Matrix, become the enforcers of mind control, indoctrination, and hold together the false concept of reality. And we've all experienced this. Just scroll down and look through my comments. Haha, you're so stupid. No one is more condescending than the person who doesn't freaking get it. Instead of exploring the idea, they will do anything in their power to prevent you from having an idea that makes them uncomfortable. Using tactics like insults, calling them stupid, personal attacks. Let's take a look at my favorite quote from The Matrix. Morpheus says, "The Matrix is a system, Neo, and that system is our enemy. But when you're inside, you look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters, the very minds of the people who we are trying to save. But until you do, these people are a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged, and many of them are so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it." Sure, skepticism can be very healthy. However, aggressive skepticism, Agent Smith. These skeptics are often only hurting themselves. Sure, they want their insults to hurt you, but I'm on the greatest adventure of all time. I live in a universe that is infinite, surrounded by endless possibilities, and a reality that can be molded and changed simply with our thoughts. I can manifest my dreams into reality.
So it is Neo's job and his cohorts who have also escaped the Matrix to disrupt this Matrix and to free the people who are attached to it, to reinstate reality, or reality as they know it, because reality can be many things. But as they're trying to do this, there are agents, and one is called Mr. Smith, the head agent, who is constantly chasing and monitoring anyone who's trying to disrupt the system at hand, who is trying to awaken the people. And what ends up happening is that Mr. Smith has the power to enter into the vessel of anyone else who is attached to the Matrix. So let's say I'm out here and I'm plugged into the Matrix. I'm out here sleepwalking. Well, if someone around me is trying to free themselves, or someone around me is trying to disrupt the system, Mr. Smith can come into me and attack that person. This is a Mr. Smith effect. It's very powerful because as Neo is trying to unveil his potential, actualize his powers and potentials in this new reality that he is in, Mr. Smith, who's also very powerful because he contains the power of the Matrix, is coming at Neo with all of his might. So this is also happening in our reality right now in many ways. And this is how. Whenever a higher truth, an idea which pushes the boundaries, a perspective which is outside of the norm is presented, the Agent Smith effect, the Mr. Smith effect, will step in and defend the Matrix. It will defend the norm. It will defend the program. And how this works is because the people contain the program. The people serve as the agents. They can be your friend, your family, your coworker, anyone, right? Your lover, your child. But let's say you say, okay, I no longer believe in this religious system because of X, Y, and Z. I've learned this through my experiences, and this is what I have found. Or you can say some conspiracy, right? The banking system is doing this, and this is what's happening. It can be about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and you're trying to explain that to someone else. It can be about your new diet as a vegan. It can be many things. These are all things that I personally experienced. That's why I use them as examples. And immediately, if someone is tapped into that matrix, not in balance, they will serve as an agent to attack and derail what you just said. They will literally try and pull you back into that matrix, defending itself as if they are personally being attacked. This is how the Mr. Smith effect works, and it can be embodied by anyone, even yourself, attacking your own self. Now, this doesn't mean that the person attacking is a bad person, that they have horrible intentions. They are simply serving as a tool or an agent in that moment. And due to a lack of self-awareness or balance, or even just experience in certain capacities, they are able to be used as a vessel to defend and protect the matrix and keep themselves and others in prison. So in order to even escape the Mr. Smith effect, you must first escape the matrix yourself. Just like Neo and the others did. They were not a part of the matrix, therefore they would not be influenced or embodied by the Mr. Smith agents. So I want you all to realize that it's not personal. It can be, but most times it's not personal. When someone comes after you in such a way, whenever you're trying to do good for yourself or share truth with somebody else or to share your perspective on some higher truth, when someone comes after you, don't take it personal. Show compassion, understanding that what they're speaking is really against themselves. You know your truth, staying true in your truth, confident in your truth. And their attacking of me is not personal. It's simply them trying to defend a program that they've been given, which has now become a part of who they are. And many times people have a hard time of differentiating between themselves and the program. I mean, if you've had it since you were a kid, you know, it can be very difficult to tell the difference, and that's fair. This is why I say to use compassion, because normally it's not personal. So with that being said, be aware of how you can be an agent to yourself. Whenever you are embarking on journeys, trying to understand some truths, trying to transition into new areas and arenas of existence and beingness, pay close attention to those limiting beliefs, to that voice in your head that tries to attack and derail your progress, momentum. Is that an agent? What is that speaking? Who is that speaking? Why is it coming at you at that point in time? Why is it trying to convince you otherwise? Pay very close attention and do not be an agent to yourself. And do not be an agent to others, because we have so many of them already. We need more love. We need more acceptance and listening and compassion and connection. Not more prisoners, right? Not more guards of those prisons. So with that being said, move forward in confidence and truth and a wholeness.
Started saying, what? You don't believe? How come you? But everybody knows. There must be something wrong with you. Have you forgotten to take your medication? Are you a flat earther?
Now get up.
What happens when it actually gets out? The kind of restructuring of society and the system that truthers are looking for, that people know we need, is what can happen and what will happen and what must happen if this truth gets out. Because this is huge. It is the truth. I guarantee anyone who's never heard of this before, look into the flat earth. The earth is flat. just like it appears on the horizon. The Earth is motionless, just as you feel motionless. Everything in the sky revolves around us, just as it appears if you look up and use your own eyes, your own senses. Everything that your senses tell you is what's happening. But you've been fed a false system. You've been shown CGI images with a ball Earth with a horizon that curves. You've been shown more CGI images with a ball Earth that spins. You've been shown planets that spin like billiard balls around each other in many different directions at many different speeds simultaneously. You've been shown all these things in CGI format. You've had Freemasons lie to you and tell you they've seen it for themselves, but you've never seen it for yourself. You've just been lied to and shown pictures, and you believe those. It's not science. Science, in fact, shows that the Earth is flat and motionless, and there are hundreds upon hundreds of proofs and experiments that have been repeated throughout history for hundreds of years, but you haven't been taught them in school, because they don't want you to be taught that in school. They show you a spinning globe on your first day and tell you that gravity keeps water and buildings and people stuck to the bottom of that thing, and they repeat it until you believe it, your parents believe it, your grandparents believe it. 500 years ago, people were believing it.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.